Disclaimer. All characters, incident, name, place, and time used in story are imaginary, and there are no relation with real-world fact. It is not our intention to harm anyone. Please note that this video is created for the audience of 18 plus age only and fully entertainment purpose, not for education. Asami was always drawn to unique and unusual objects, and she found just that at a garage sale in her town. Among the various items for sale, she spotted a broken Daruma doll, its eyes dark and hollow, almost as if it was watching her. The old man selling the doll warned her not to buy it, telling her it was cursed, but Asami dismissed his warnings, believing them to be just a ploy to sell the doll at a higher price. Excited to add the eerie doll to her collection, Asami took it home, placing it on her bookshelf. At first, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. However, as the days passed, strange occurrences began to happen in her apartment. She would hear whispers in the middle of the night, and objects would move on their own. Asami brushed it off, thinking it was just her imagination playing tricks on her. But soon, she couldn't ignore it any longer. One night, Asami woke up to the sound of shuffling and scratching coming from the direction of the doll. She got up to investigate, but as she approached the bookshelf, she saw the broken doll's head had turned to face her, its empty eyes staring directly at her. Asami's heart raced as she stumbled backward, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. Was the doll really moving on its own, or was it just her imagination? Suddenly, the doll's head snapped back into its original position, and everything went quiet once more. Asami was now convinced that something was wrong with the doll, and she knew she needed to find out more about it. Asami began researching the history of the Daruma doll and discovered its origins in ancient Japan. She read about the legend of a wealthy family who mistreated their servants, resulting in a curse that had been passed down through the generations. The family was said to have owned a Daruma doll, which was rumored to be possessed by the spirit of a servant who had died under mysterious circumstances. Asami now realized the gravity of her situation. Had she unwittingly brought a cursed object into her home? She could feel her fear growing with each passing day, wondering what would happen next. Little did she know that her curiosity about the doll would lead her down a dangerous path, one that would challenge her belief in the supernatural and put her life in peril. Asami's research into the history of the Daruma doll began to uncover a dark and unsettling past. She read about how the family who owned the doll had mistreated their servants, leading to a curse that was said to have lasted for generations. The Daruma doll was rumored to be possessed by the vengeful spirit of a former servant who died under mysterious circumstances, seeking revenge on the family who had wronged her. Asami couldn't shake the feeling that the broken doll she had purchased was somehow linked to this cursed family. She began to fear that the doll's curse had now been passed on to her, and she was determined to uncover the truth. She sought the help of a local historian who had expertise in ancient Japanese legends and curses. The historian confirmed Asami's fears, explaining that the Daruma doll was indeed cursed, and that the only way to break the curse was to return the doll to its place of origin and perform a purification ritual. Asami now realized the severity of the situation she was in. She knew that returning the doll to Japan would be a difficult and dangerous task, but she also knew that it was the only way to break the curse and put an end to the strange occurrences that were happening in her home. Determined to lift the curse, Asami made plans to travel to Japan. She spent weeks researching the doll's origins and the location of the cursed family's ancestral home. Eventually, she found what she was looking for, and she set off on her journey. As she made her way through the ancient streets of Japan, Asami could feel a sense of unease growing inside her. She knew that what she was doing was dangerous, and she was afraid of what she might find when she arrived at the ancestral home of the cursed family. When she finally arrived, Asami found that the family had long since passed away. However, she discovered that their descendants still lived in the area, and she set out to find them. After much searching, she was finally able to locate them and learned that they had been keeping a dark secret about the family's past. Asami realized that the curse was stronger than ever and that she was in grave danger. She knew that she needed to confront the vengeful spirit and perform the purification ritual if she had any hope of breaking the curse and saving herself. Asami approached the cursed family's descendants, hoping to find answers to the questions that plagued her mind. The descendants were wary of her at first, but she was persistent and eventually convinced them to share their knowledge. They told her about the family's mistreatment of their servants and how a curse had been placed on them. The curse was said to have been caused by the family's possession of the Daruma doll, which was rumored to be possessed by the spirit of a former servant who had died under mysterious circumstances. Asami was shocked by the family's history and the severity of the curse. She knew that returning the doll to its place of origin and performing the purification ritual was the only way to break the curse and end the family's suffering. The descendants warned Asami about the dangers she would face when attempting to perform the ritual. They told her about the vengeful spirit that had been plaguing their family for generations and how it would stop at nothing to protect the curse. Undeterred by the warnings, Asami set out to perform the purification ritual. She made her way to the ancestral home and began to prepare for the ritual. As she worked, she felt a presence watching her, and she could sense that the vengeful spirit was close. Suddenly, the atmosphere in the room changed, and Asami felt a cold breeze. She turned to see the broken Daruma doll standing upright, its eyes staring directly at her. Asami could feel her heart racing as the doll began to move towards her, slowly but steadily. Asami realized that the doll was being controlled by the vengeful spirit, and that it was coming for her. She tried to run, but the doll seemed to follow her every move, its eyes never leaving hers. Asami knew that she needed to act quickly if she was going to survive. She reached into her bag and pulled out a purification charm. She recited the words and threw the charm at the doll, hoping that it would break the curse. As soon as the charm hit the doll, it shattered into 1,000,000 pieces, and the room went quiet. Asami could feel the weight of the curse lifting, and she knew that she had succeeded in breaking it. As she made her way out of the ancestral home, Asami could feel a sense of relief wash over her. She knew that she had faced great danger, and that she had succeeded in breaking the curse that had been plaguing the cursed family for generations. Asami returned home, feeling relieved but also exhausted from the events that had transpired. She couldn't believe that she had survived the encounter with the vengeful spirit and had broken the curse. However, Asami soon realized that the curse had left its mark on her. She began to experience strange dreams and noticed that objects in her home were moving on their own. She could feel a presence around her, and she knew that the vengeful spirit was still with her. Asami tried to ignore the strange occurrences, hoping that they would go away, but they only seemed to get worse. She knew that she needed help and decided to seek out a priest who had experience dealing with curses and the supernatural. The priest listened intently as Asami told him about the curse and the events that had transpired. He advised her that the vengeful spirit was still with her, and that she needed to perform a more powerful purification ritual to banish it once and for all. Asami was hesitant to perform another ritual, knowing the danger that it entailed, but she knew that it was necessary. She gathered the necessary items and began to prepare for the ritual. As she worked, she could feel the presence of the vengeful spirit growing stronger. She knew that she was running out of time and that she needed to act fast. The ritual was intense, and Asami felt as though she was battling for her life. She could feel the vengeful spirit trying to resist her, but she remained determined to banish it. As she recited the final incantation, Asami could feel a rush of energy leaving her body. She knew that the ritual had worked and that the vengeful spirit had been banished. Asami felt a sense of relief wash over her. She knew that she had been through a lot, but she had emerged victorious. she could finally put the events of the past few weeks behind her and move on with her life. Asami decided to donate the broken Daruma doll to a museum in Japan, hoping that it would serve as a warning to those who sought to possess cursed objects. She knew that the curse had been broken, but she also knew that there were other cursed objects out there that could cause great harm. Asami had learned a valuable lesson about the dangers of cursed objects and the importance of respecting ancient legends and traditions. She knew that she would never forget the events that had transpired, and that they would forever be a part of her. Months passed, and Asami tried to move on from the events that had transpired. She had put the broken Daruma doll and the curse behind her, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was still off. One day, she received a package in the mail. It was from the museum that she had donated the broken Daruma doll to. Asami opened the package to find that the broken doll had been repaired and was now whole once again. Asami was shocked and confused. She knew that the doll had been broken beyond repair, and she couldn't understand how it had been fixed. She felt a sense of unease wash over her, and she knew that something was not right. Asami decided to investigate and made her way to the museum. She asked to speak with the curator and was shown to his office. The curator was surprised to see Asami and asked her what she wanted. Asami explained that she had received the broken Daruma doll in the mail and that it had been repaired. The curator looked surprised and told her that the doll had not been repaired and was still broken. Asami was confused and showed the curator the doll. To her horror, the doll was once again broken, and the pieces lay scattered on the floor. Asami knew that something was wrong, and that the curse had not been broken after all. She realized that the vengeful spirit was still with her, and that it was more powerful than ever. Asami knew that she needed help, and she decided to seek out the priest once again. The priest listened to her story and advised her that the curse had not been fully broken, and that the vengeful spirit was still with her. He told her that she needed to perform a final purification ritual to banish the vengeful spirit once and for all. Asami knew that this would be her most challenging battle yet, but she remained determined to succeed. The final ritual was intense, and Asami could feel the vengeful spirit's power growing stronger. She knew that she needed to remain focused and stay strong. As she recited the final incantation, she could feel the vengeful spirit's presence growing weaker. She knew that she had succeeded in banishing it once and for all. Asami felt a sense of relief wash over her, and she knew that she had finally put the curse behind her. She knew that she had faced great danger, but she had emerged victorious. From that day forward, Asami lived her life with a newfound appreciation for the supernatural and the power of curses. She knew that she would never forget the events that had transpired, but she also knew that she had the strength and courage to face anything that came her way.